Hello, and welcome back to the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. I'm Mark Ramone, joined today by Violet Hausthor and Paul Wallen. You just heard Riley Godleski with Statues, and we started off with The Grey Curtain, Burn That Bridge. Grey Curtain, they are out of Worcester, Massachusetts, a 5-piece band. Very cool song.
Very cool song. Got this nice psychedelic rock thing, but also reminds me of like prog bands from the late 60s, early 70s. It's a little bit Pink Floyd. It's a little bit, almost a little bit of The Doors, like at their most experimental, but then they also have this harder edge at times. And this is off their concept album, The Florist, which just came out a couple weeks ago as well. It's a super surreal concept album about a flower shop owner from a town called Apathy, whose wife dies of cancer, and in a fit of mad inspiration, he sets out to resurrect his wife from the grave. It's a really fascinating album. There's a lot going on here, and honestly, the hooks are pretty catchy.
Yeah, it actually, I had some of the same feelings, and it made me think of Styx in a couple ways. Ooh. In terms of the theatrical, and they also did some concept album stuff, and I loved it.
I do love Styx a lot. They live up to it.
I love the vocals, but they sounded almost muted, very soft. But I thought that the lead vocalist had a great voice, and I would love to hear it amped up a little bit.
Yeah, it was a really interesting thing. It's sort of a little bassy, a bit of that lower baritone range. That's not something you always hear in prog. They tend to lean more for tenors, but really cool thing. And then out of East Hampton, Massachusetts, Riley Godleski with Statues. There's a lot going on in that track. He's a local drummer, rhythm guitarist, and electronic composer. And the composition here is so exciting. All these changing time signatures and jazz-inspired chord changes. And it's just drenched in that bedroom pop production style. It's complicated and interesting and fun in a way that is really, really fascinating. And that's off the album Ribbon Candy, which came out last year.
Yeah, I really liked, even with all that complexity, they made it very accessible. It was a fun listen.
And Riley noted that this song is kind of inspired by some protests that they had been to, where they were standing there feeling like they were standing still and strong like statues with all the other protesters.
That's wonderful, yeah. There's a lot going on in this song, and it's really exciting because of it. Honestly, the whole album is quite a treat if you're interested in that sort of jazzy bedroom pop, whatever genre you want to call this. It's fascinating.
So we've got another block coming up, and I'm very excited to hear this one. Who do we have?
We've got a couple of New Haven bands, and we're leaning more into the electronic space this time, but it's just as experimental in some ways as the last block. There's a lot of genre matching stuff going on here. There's a lot of creativity going on here, and a lot of electronic tones as well. But we're going to be starting off this block with Olive Tiger doing The Choir.